Hi, welcome. On this video, I'd like to take a few minutes to discuss the relational approach. And here, what you're seeing is a diagram that shows the relational approach and how it connects together. It all connects together. And what I show is that training is really a intervention, and that change comes in and through the owner. So here you'll see how this sets up. You'll see the owner. The owner is the central pivoting point, okay, when it comes to creating change, and everything connects in and through that. So everything joins together. Now here, so when you're looking at the relationship, when you're looking at behavior, trying to get a sense of why things say don't work out. And one example here, you go over to, say, devices. I talk about this on my videos about the crate is an example of people struggling with, say, issues with relate to the crate. It's because oftentimes it's not making sense to the dog. The dog is seeing this through, and this is how dogs connect dots, relational dots, is connecting that crate to the owner. And so when the owner isn't coming in the right relationship through leadership, and again, I show dogs are social relational beings, and that's how the decision-making process is influenced. When the owner tries to use the crate outside of the scripting of them changing, okay, change happening through them, so that's connecting to the crate, what happens is it doesn't line up. I mean, the crate represents, because the crate represents control, and the dog is going to challenge that control because they know the real deal. Okay, they're saying, well, this doesn't make sense. I'm not going to accept it. And then you're going to have that issue going on. And then you'll try everything, and this is what happens. And I show this, it's, how people think is really critical here, because it really shows their motives. And it shows our motives with how we're trying to get things to work out. Then you try to put things inside the crate, try to bribe the dog, put toys in there to try to, but all that does is it temporarily distracts the mind, and it isn't going to fix the problem, because again, the person isn't changing. Okay, so that's not going to be helpful. It's not going to line up properly. So here, again, you see this example here on how all these wheels are connected together, and this is the thing to understand about dogs. This is how dogs, their mind operates. It's all about the person as a pivot point. And so when you're looking at the need level of dogs, this is a good example. I've labeled all these in here so that people can get a sense of how this all kind of works and moves together. But you look at dogs, it's about their need levels. So for example, that's why you'll see, say, dogs such as pit bulls. It'd be very problematic for a lot of people, because generally pit bulls have a higher level of need. But all dogs, and this is the thing, all dogs, no matter if they're a Chihuahua or whatever the breed is, the need level could be extremely high. It's just like rolling the dice. But again, what happens is, when you look at the need level, because people will look at dogs in a way that kind of really oftentimes falls short of, circling back to the owner. What I show is it immediately circles back to the owner. So no matter what that dog, the need level is, it still comes back to the owner as being the agent of change. Change has to come in and through that owner, okay, but coming in the right relationship at the relational level, okay. The dogs, again, I show they share very profound and special connection with us through nature, through the pack relationship, and they connect all the dots. Everything connects that way. So all the wheels turn here. So if you're looking at say the environment, the home environment, okay, changing how they connect, how they think within that environment, again, it comes in through the owner. Okay, those bridges, those relational bridges need to be built through the owner. So it's all about the scripting process. So, within this system, very specific scripting, how it comes together, how it's defined. It has to be meaningful. So, even the method is important. So, you promote an idea of leadership, which is important. I mean, a lot of systems will do that. But then it's important to get into, when you get into the actual specifics of the method, the physical method, what actually creates change, is when you look at my methodology, bringing people into into thinking through at the relational level, but it's about the actual script itself, the specifics. So I define it as it's relational influence. So they make the distinction between corrective and relational. So what you're doing is you're looking at the level at which the dog is devaluing, the mind is separating, and basically what you're doing is you're starting to influence comes online, and you're creating what I define as follower moments. So the building blocks of change. But what that's doing is, but again, still change is coming in and through the person. So what it's doing is it's changing how the person thinks, how the person connects, which changes how the dog thinks and connects. So it's kind of like an echo effect, really. Now, the issue with devices, again, I strip everything away. I don't get into focusing on or pivoting off certain devices, such as, say, remote collars, etc., because the type of influence has to vary. You want to make sure you're seeing things very clearly as you're doing this. So it's all about the methods and techniques. All the methods and techniques that I've developed, they come in, they flow in through the relational model. You'll see, in fact, many of the techniques and methods you're not going to find in any other training manuals, any other systems. I developed this system. I mean, that's the thing about this system, makes it very special. It doesn't follow along any other system. I developed it. In fact, I haven't seen any other system out there that approaches training like this as an intervention this way at all. So there's depth to this. This is why I can talk about learning, talk about certain ideas and why they break down for people, actually show why. Here in the system it actually explains how this works in terms of packaging, how it is that when you're looking at response, you're looking at dogs going through the motions of the sit down, come and stay, which is the typical obedience type of training method. How it is that oftentimes that won't line up, that doesn't always line up. It doesn't always represent a like-minded state. People looking at the physical response of dogs. It's because it's not lining up because the person isn't changing, okay, at the social relational level. So here what's happening is people, because of how they think, they're trying to get out from underneath bringing dogs under authority, but there is no escaping it. I mean, it's about the personality type of the person. So even how people package up physical force or the dominance issue, that's the thing. It's all part and parcel of how people think. It's relational, so you can't, people try to define a certain way, but what they're doing is they're trying to take and lean on or use learning as the pillar off of, how dogs respond. Now, oftentimes it's not lining up. Okay, that's the problem, is that there's some deception here because, the picture that's painted oftentimes can be a counterfeit if you're not putting it to the test. You have to apply it, and you have to look at the dog's decision-making process that way. And ask the big question is, what I tell people is the thing you have to look at is unwanted behavior. I mean, if unwanted behavior is not diminishing, it means role change isn't happening. It means that you have a disconnect problem here. And oftentimes it's because the person isn't changing how they think. Okay, they're trying to kind of have their cake and eat it too. And dogs are social relational beings. It's not how their mind works. They know the difference. They know the real deal. And so, in order for change to come in, even when you talk about changing how the dog interacts with other people, the bridges have to be built that way, in and through the owner, the social relational level, and the dog has to be brought into the follower script. So there's a scripting issue, and everything works off that. So anyway, I just want to present this outline so people have a sense of, of the model. You'll find this on my website. You'll find lots of videos on my website. I talk about how this all links together. So anyway, if you have any questions, I would encourage you to send me an email. You can phone. I'm here to help people. I'm here to get people into a good place with their dogs. And regardless of how much power your dog's holding, this is what makes this system very, very special. Is that even dogs that are holding a huge amount of power, aggression, this system's very effective for bringing dogs back from the edge. It sets things in motion here so that It's done in a very safe, a very intentional, very controlled way. And the scripting is done in such a way that even the structure itself will keep things very safe for people to control bad outcomes, like another biting situation while you're rehabbing the dog. So anyway, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. I'd be more than happy to answer all your questions and help you and your dog.